Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into how something as basic and universal as food was twisted into a weapon of oppression in the Caribbean. But more than that, we're going to see how it also became a powerful language of rebellion. This is the story of how the Tropics bit back, all based on the fascinating work of Vale Loichot.
So let's just start with this. It's a deeply shocking quote. I mean, how could anyone, any human being, be described as foodstuff? It's more than just a horrific insult. It actually peels back the curtain on a very calculated colonial strategy, the practice of defining and controlling an entire group of people by what they eat, or, more importantly, by what they were denied.
To really get our heads around a word like foodstuff, we have to open up the colonial playbook. We're going to look at how European powers literally weaponized the most basic human needs, hunger and eating, all to justify slavery and maintain their absolute control.
Okay, so at the very heart of this strategy was this bizarre and frankly cruel contradiction. On the one hand, you had the colonial narrative that portrayed enslaved people as having these insatiable, almost animal-like appetites. But then, on the other hand, they argued that these exact same people were naturally frugal and needed almost no food at all to survive and work.
Now you might be thinking, well, that just doesn't make any sense. And you'd be right, but it was not an accident. These opposing claims were a really calculated two-pronged attack. See, if you portray someone as a glutton, you can justify enslaving them as beastly. But if you argue they barely need food, you can justify starving them. It was a perfect trap, a lose-lose situation designed from the ground up to strip away their humanity. And this logic, it got even more terrifying. It created this binary where you were either one of two things. You were either a threatening cannibal who might eat the colonizer, or you were an object to be consumed yourself. You were the edible, the foodstuff. Either way, it relegated people to a subhuman status, which could then justify anything from forced assimilation to complete annihilation.
But, and this is so important, this is not just a story of oppression. Not at all. It is also a powerful story of resistance. This is the moment where food stops being a weapon used against people and completely transforms into a language of humanity, of creativity, and of freedom.
So how did people fight back? Well, one key act of resistance is found in a concept called bocage. Now, this isn't just about farming. No, it's a deeply political and cultural act. It's a conscious move away from colonial dependency and a move towards building sustainable, local systems that could rebuild the very fabric of community and family that slavery worked so hard to tear apart.
So you see what's happening here? Food becomes so much more than just fuel. It becomes an art of survival. Cooking isn't just cooking anymore. It's like creating a whole new cultural language. The folk tales about food, they're not just children's stories. They are recipes for how to piece back together a scattered identity. And something as simple as sharing a meal becomes this profound ethical act, a direct rebellion against a system built entirely on deprivation.
And this powerful link between food and identity didn't just stop when the plantation system ended. Oh no, it continues to evolve and shape the lives of the Caribbean diaspora to this day, especially when you look across the generations of immigrant families. The writer Edwidge Danticat captures this just beautifully. You have the grandparents, right? They're the guardians of tradition. Their cooking is a taste of a homeland that's now far away, almost a memory. Then you have their children, the parents' generation, who often assimilate. They turn to frozen dinners, easy meals, as they navigate this new world. But then, and this is the amazing part, you get to the children. They become these agents of creolization. They consciously start blending the new with the old, creating these vibrant, totally new hybrid identities right there on their plates. Now, that same cruel logic that was used to control food was also ruthlessly applied to another fundamental human appetite, sexuality. And the goal was exactly the same, total control. And what do you know? Here we see that exact same contradictory logic at play. Remember the starved glutton? Well, it's the same playbook. Black sexuality was trapped between two monstrous stereotypes. You had the hypersexual Jezebel or satyr on one side, which was used to create fear and justify violence, and on the other, the completely desexualized mammy figure, made safe and non-threatening. Both extremes serve the very same purpose, to deny a full, complex, and real humanity. So when you boil it all down, the colonial project was really about policing every single appetite. By framing both the desire for food and sexual desire as something pathological, something deviant that needed to be tamed, it could justify a system of complete physical and psychological control. This was really about owning bodies by demonizing their most basic human needs.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As Creole cuisine shows us so powerfully, a meal is never just a meal. It's a language. It tells a story of history, of survival, of pain, and of incredible creativity. So it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What story is your plate telling?